Welcome back. My name is Peter and I'm an accountability coach. And this week we're talking about the mass media hysteria that many of us have seen on TV and just some of how this affects us, if not directly but indirectly in our unconscious mind. You know, what we see on TV, what we hear on the radio does have a profound effect upon us about how we react, how we behave. And of course at this time we are really all going through mass amounts of both awakening, a little bit of fear, huge change, and large amounts of uncertainty for many of us when it comes down to simple things like employment. There's changes within employers. Also, there are mass redundancies, and therefore people are having to adapt and flow with that change. And of course, for some people, this can be extremely difficult because they are quite rigid and they're more in the approach of why me? How has this happened? Oh, everything's difficult. Of course, versus there are other people which are able to kind of bend and be flexible and flow, who are able to accept quickly their circumstances and adapt and adjust to be able to seek out and find in this difficult scenario both the positives and even new employment. Now, this is something that a lot of people have been contacting me around at the moment, is about how they're feeling about this now, how they can react to it, how they can overcome those barriers and blockers in order to get themselves in the most positive state to put themselves out there. Because even if they are a fantastic employee and they've got all the credentials and qualifications, you know, when your mindset isn't right, you're just not going to show up on the video call or to a prospective new employer. So come visit me directly at smeltthatcoffee.co.uk. Wake up to the possibilities to be your very best self, and I look forward to meeting and speaking with you very, very soon. I think really just some practical advice for the here and for the now is, even if your CV is absolutely on point, your LinkedIn is as sharp as it can be, and you're out there seeking employment, remind yourself, you know, it's a very difficult time for many, and seeking out a job when online specifically, it feels like you're applying for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of jobs. There are better approaches and better ways. There are structures to your day and routines you can set up, and there's some top tips and practice that, as part of the one-to-one work I do, that I can share with you, that will both enable you to feel good about getting a job as well as be in a position of having to find a job, you know, because when you're in that desperate state, when you're needing that cash flow, then what happens is you tend to maybe compromise and to seek out positions that maybe aren't suitable for you, and then they're going to create some unhappiness for you down the road. So it's very, very important that you're very clear on your goal, and that goal is aligned to what it is that you're seeking in the short term and in the much longer term. I think, you know, with all this kind of downside, negativity, mass media hysteria, you know, depression, anxiety and stuff, finally, one thing that I found worked for a client of mine recently was, once in that space and in that place, regretfully, as we worked through the process, whilst we weren't able to resolve all of the problems right here, right now, we do have the strategy in place and the plan in place, and that gives a little bit of feel-good feelings, a bit of oxytocin, and kind of lightens the load, so to speak. But sometimes it's better to raise the gaze. It's time to look further afield and to create a big plan for the future, something positive that maybe you've wanted to do. Perhaps it's that you want to go traveling, you wish to see friends and family that you've not seen for a long time, or you just wish to achieve, you know, jumping out of an airplane, riding on a speedboat, diving with sharks, traveling around the world. Let's actually put that into fruition, and do not be off-put by the current climate and conditions, but actually raise your gaze and have that clear positive goal in your future. So you've got something to wake up and think about every day. You've got something, a goal, which is going to keep you going through the daily monotonous looking for a job, maybe having some experience of some rejection, and going through the day-to-day motions, you know. Make more of your lifestyle than just get up and exist. You know, the difference between the ordinary and the extraordinary is just that little bit extra. My name is Pete. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. I'll speak to you all again next week. Thanks ever so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and absolutely be your best self.